Spread your, spread your wealth and support those who have less. Give back as much as you take. Disrupting the equilibrium is unwise and won't lead to happiness. Your needs are always met. Your life's purpose involves marine conservation. That's a little bit true. I'm very aware of water. Just that's not why I chose the name though. But I'm an eco aware person, so I know the worth of pure water, and I like, yeah, I've always made sure I have a good washing machine. Like, just that saves so much water. But now everybody has, because they don't have the old ones. Investigate your beliefs about money. Organize your finances. Contribute resources to charity. Invocation is, I'm thankful for all I have. Prosperity is a state of mind. I feel super connected to Sadnag right now because I'm a little bit just, I just donated a few of my old things to charity. And then, and then it's a little bit of my yogic self to serve and stand tall in life, and to give and take is a balance. That is absolutely what I think too. And I love the fact that she guards the ecological balance of the oceans, and she called all sea creatures to her side. Like, that's beautiful. I don't feel her as a maiden though. Like, my inspiration with her is probably more motherly, mother of the ocean. Like, she looks super young. And she just the beginning of the story might have started quite young, but yeah, you know. Um, and definitely finances are important because I want to be moving soon. So that is a beautiful card for me. I feel very seen. Cool. If I get cards like this that inspire me, I like to keep them on a little. Like, I made a little oracle deck holder. I put it on an altar, so I'm probably gonna put this in my kitchen or somewhere. So I see here, I have the inspiration going, and and also the message is very grounding for me. So I just have this beautiful inspiration and support from the oracle decks. And then the next one we draw was very Magdalene. I want to talk about the Magdalene, but first gonna check the cards. So, Mary Magdalene, sacred marriage. You are your own twin flame. Spiritual wholeness leads to new experiences of intimacy and love. Mary Magdalene was the author of a gospel and chief apostle of the disciple. She has roots in Gnosticism, where she's worshipped as an aspect of the Holy Sophia. Her ankh pendant signifies her role as a priestess of the Egyptian goddess Isis. Mary holds the Shekinah flame, the feminine aspect of God. She presides over the twin flame union, a self-knowledge journey that brings higher consciousness to partnership. The Temple of Magdalene is a space for deep spiritual and sexual healing. Your soul has an ancient connection to this temple, and memories of the twin flame union are now being stirred. Or as you awaken the holiest feminine and masculine energies inside your heart, you'll be working deeply on yourself and awakening to your soul's light. This process can span many years. Your healing journey is about becoming whole. All your life, you've been preparing to create a relationship that reflects that inner wholeness. It's not a partnership based on imagine-driven ideas of perfection, nor is it based on patching up each other's wounds. It's a conscious relationship in which both people take responsibility for their own lives and soul growth. Mary says, before you can experience sacred marriage with another, you need to come home to your own inner twin flames. She gives you a red rose, a symbol of the beloved, to signify that you're choosing the sacred marriage inside yourself first. In perfect timing, you emerge with a partner who reflects your own completeness. Trust that your heart knows what it's doing to build a synergetic experience of true love that leads the world to higher consciousness. You're a powerful spiritual teacher with a mission to bring the Shekinah, the feminine force of divine, to humanity. Could be a meaning of this card. Or another one could be clear the vibration and imprint of past lovers through energy work. Work on your relationship and couples therapy. Incorporate sacred ritual into your love life. Invocation is I am whole and complete. I'm ready to create a sacred experience of intimacy. So I love this card because I feel it's a very empowering one. And I definitely criticize the fact that some women think they are off the Magdalene because they work with this archetype a little bit too much. They have no balance in a spiritual practice and they are constantly focused only on the divine feminine. Like that's what I'm feeling with lots of these teachers who focus all on this Mary Magdalene teachings. Some, they choose little archetypes, and some they are very Isis focused, and others they just fully go with the Avalon mysteries, the Morrigan, all of those very powerful women too. It's mostly about power and feminine empowerment. That those women that are so unbalanced as teachers that I am already super annoyed with them because it's not one of the teachings that I've ever received in my life. That you just should represent yourself as holy because you do spiritual routine and you pray and you offer paid courses. Like that is not at all what a Christian saint is about. And also like with Buddha, I feel the same. Like that nobody will be the Buddha for just sitting in meditation. Like that is a lived path. And it's a little bit different with other goddesses, like Aphrodite, for example, or Venus in Rome. There's this kind of the same goddess. They are very, very similar. She is more, she is definitely somebody about adornment, and about blessing and about sexiness and flow. She uses her body as power to get what she needs, and in an even toxic way. But it's a little bit different if you work with holy religious saints, just like Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Jesus, Buddha, and few others, but it's not so widespread. So I don't love them finding teachings or even mystery schools about them, not the archetype. It's actually always them, and they secretly know all about them. Just 2026 years later, they knew what they ate basically for dinner every day. So, and that's so not true, and it's so far from the truth. Like they are legends. They are legends that founded religion, that brings great inspiration. That also my yogic heart feels are super important for those times. And I don't like people sexualizing them. I don't like people just putting tantra onto them because the Buddha is not about tantra. Buddha is not Hinduism. Buddha is not yoga. So a yogi, obviously, they have white tantra and whatever is going on in Kundalini yoga. So that is another story. Those gurus, they are connected deeply with like tantric practices and all. So, and also Mary Magdalene is not about orgasmicness. Her message is definitely self-empowerment and spiritual strength, perseverance, just like Jesus and many, many other Christian saints. And Buddha too, like he persevered, he went on a long path of self-recovery. I feel like he was trained to be living for the gold, and he learned to live for the breath, which as a yogi I'm inspired. But also Buddha was said to be very a big human heart, and that's certainly not somebody who lives in orgasmic states or in bliss, and even I love those lectures. And it's fun that people want to have a blissful life and they do breath work and all, and they trying to have a good vibe going in their life. But I would also say always high vibe is a bit much. Like that's a bit much because life has ups and downs. Like that is Every spiritual lineage, they teach that they have grief work going, they do shadow work, and have all their own approaches. It's the same with Christian faith and also with Buddhism. So I don't like them reinventing very well known, beautiful, saintful, holy people for like promoting tantric bliss. And it's just because Mary Magdalene is, especially with this oracle lesson in esoteric fields, is promoted also for sexual healing, which I want. I want people to find sexual healing, but it's not the pleasure. It's about owning your own body and honoring yourself and staying true and strong in your path. That is a Magdalene sentence that I hear, and that is what I find inspirational. And for me, I've been raised Catholic, you know. I heard more honestly about Mother Mary, like many of us. Probably that's why she's less exploited. And other teachers, they use her for inspiration, which I find so cool. Like an archetype that holds people around womb work, around their own beautifulness, because Mary Magdalene is always promoted as being a very beautiful woman, which I don't know to be true, because 2000 years ago, after Jesus' passing, you don't know how she has lived, because the Christians, they were not safe in the beginning. Like, she endured real suffering in her life. And that's also true for the Buddha. And there are other goddesses, like, for example, I work sometimes a little bit with the patron of my Reiki Seshim energy work, that is Sekhmet. Like, that's how I got it human, and that's this, that it goes a little bit, it was found in the Egypt pyramids. It has the power of the sun very strong in my heart with that energy work for myself. And Sekhmet is the protectress of this energy work. And I love using her for more, like, you know, spiritual art filled inspiration. I make up stories in my head that I can find supporting with my session work. I love to use a white lion with my Reiki AI art, because I feel protected with her, because she was very strong and powerful, and you have no idea who she actually was, and that she is not the foundress of faith. She is an ancient Egyptian religion and the law that is not very lived, you know. And like, I don't feel like there is something you can get wrong about her, because she is just like Hercule, or like Aphrodite. She is forever known as a legend, because those are very favorite gods and goddesses. And kind of, yeah, Sekhmet is not that well known, because yeah, I actually don't know why, but people know her. Like, Isis would be more known, Osiris, Ra, Ma'at. They are all Egyptian gods that I personally just a little bit look into. Just when I get a crystal, I quickly Google it, and I check what are my topics that I could like work on with that crystal as inspiration, and a little bit strengthening, for example, throat chakra with soda light. That's what I got, a little necklace, and then and I do the same with those gods. I see them as my protector. I'm getting a little symbol, or in this case with Sekhmet, I got a little art, and with Mary Magdalene, I got a very beautiful Etsy, nice artist made beautiful picture with her, and a little baby lion, because I dedicated more energy towards my spiritual path and my spiritual strength, which was a little bit weak in a lockdown. So I really needed that. And this little art reminds me of that. So if I have a bad day, I see the picture and I'm like, oh, yeah, great, yeah. Perseverance, sacral chakra work, because it's a power center, sacral chakra, you can use it. And I'm not working in depth with her so much, because for me, she is not new. I know her from the Bible. So That's why I also feel she holds my Christian little Catholic heart too. So my inner girl knows also where she feels at home, with this picture, and just with her, that people like her so much, and I find it so beautiful, and I see that with like full gratitude in my heart for those beautiful people who share her story and who open people's eyes to more perseverance and worthiness. But I just really don't see her connected to blissful orgasmicness, because, yeah, that's not very much what she lived. So I find it's very mean that she should now represent Tantra. But there are actual yogic gods for Tantra, for example. They are very connected. Like Lakshmi, person for me, is all about abundance and overflow and overgiving, and that's what I feel with the Tantra. You can fill your resources, you can overflow with sexual energy, orgasmicness, and bliss, and like that's what I feel it just goes together. For example, also Kuan Yin, you could rather use her, in my opinion, because her story is not so tragic, and also she goes with the Reiki, which can definitely help you heal your sacral chakra as well. Kuan is a motherly goddess that is deeply interwoven with Reiki people too. So, but we don't honor her as a god. We don't sit there in a church and pray to Kuan Yin, but she is inspiration. She brings blessings. It's beautiful. The fine art that's supportive. The architects, the books, they have good messages. They are inspirational. They also very favorite with people. They bring good luck if you want. Get a little necklace, a little symbol representing your dedication to inner work. That what spiritual work is actually very deep inner work. And so I really wanted to say that this summer now I've watched like 6 years. I watch people talk in different ways about this Mary Magdalene, because she's booming, guys. She's booming. Because women want to be all empowered and they want to be free from men, and because probably they don't want to work with Jesus, they work with Mary Magdalene. And I don't think that's in any way bad, or like that is like Mother Mary. People always, in every century, people drew her. They made also art about Mary Magdalene and Jesus, obviously. So that is such a normal thing for a European person, that people create spiritual and even religious art. I just don't want them to fully make them into something absolutely different. Like I would not make Sekhmet the goddess of love, if you know what I mean. She was super powerful. She was a healer. She had a big shadow, and she was very brutal. And that's why she is not for me representing the goddess of love. And but people a little bit do that with Mary Magdalene, and she also was a perseverer. She is one of the foundresses of Christian faith. Like she made those stories alive, coming from Jesus, coming from his disciples. And she's also certainly not anti-man. What I'm also hearing with this divine feminine movement is a lot of the time is anti-man. And that's not part of the teaching. Like for example, I needed balance. So I got this Goddesses, Gods and Guidance book for me, because I felt, after I heard the first people talk about this divine feminine movement, I really wanted to work with these role models, that they are archetypically, like not historically. That I say that very discerning, because it's absolute different way of working with somebody. So I stand for Jesus religiously, because he is the Lord and he is the keeper of my heart. Religiously, I feel like every Christmas I want to pray for well-being and peace with him for the earth. And I would not do the same with Kuan Yin, but I would put meditation music. I work with the archetype, and obviously In Asia, there are temples, you can go there, and that is more religiously working with those gods and goddesses that are honored on this planet right now. So just the same with Mary Magdalene. So yeah, just don't 100% recreate a new story about them, because there are religious faithful people who know her historical role, and that might be not very respectful towards those kind of people. But you can make up your own way. I love that people create their own form of embodying the archetype of the priestess. People always call Mary Magdalene priestess, which is actually a holy saint. Like there's a bit more for me than just a priestess, because obviously shamans are priests, and it's just another name for being able to help people in a big way with your own faith and spiritual deep rooted routines. And yeah, I would never study with a mystery school that calls itself the Magdalenes, or I would never work with somebody who like believes they are the better Christian women because they use a new form of chanting. Like that, I've seen all of that. But I will have fun joining these mystery schools around topics like shadow work, Lilith temples. I have fun with inspiration around the goddess work, and overall, as an Austrian girl, we live in a very man-centered Catholic country, and we don't have goddess lore, for example. We have old stories that I know. I feel, because I'm somebody who reads a lot. I find all of those stories since I was 5, I guess. So I really love old stories, and stories of overcoming, and stories of learning about my land, my history, and a little bit finding those role models that helped me persevere. Abuse, for example, that's also definitely Mother Mary role, because I know that people hold on to her lots. If they need a mom, Mother Mary is there for you. She holds your hand, and that's not a way to not honor the church, you know. Like in your everyday routine, those role models, those saints, those holy people, those bygone ancestors too, in a way, that held together the church and all of humanity for many, many centuries. That is true for many of them. Like people honored them. They stood together in temple and churches, in holy grounds. They hold them at the funeral. So they. I would never think that I am them, just because I dress up with a little scarf on my head, or I wear red dresses. And I would never go and start a new Buddhism lineage as somebody, a European girl who, yeah, thinks he was mighty. Like, that's very toxic, very, very toxic traits. If you don't work with your shadow, they might get the best of you. The shadow is very naughty. It might blind you for your own, yeah, for like, yeah. The shadow, if you don't reflect and they're not very mindful, and you kind of never really felt like this dissonance, because their shadow might be very clever. He gets you. Like my shadow makes me overbuy, for example. If I'm frustrated, I tend to eat too much. I tend to want too much clothing. I just want to be on vacation. I ignore my everyday life. So the lesson that I am not learning is to get stronger from worry, from challenges, from tragedy. Obviously not in the exact right moment, but the moment I start binging whatever I'm doing, like binging is what we call it nowadays. So my shadow wins, and my shadow lures me into getting more of more, not materialism so much, but more of like things that are not very healthy for myself or my lifestyle, because I am personally not interested from my own mindset. I don't think I should trash my home with new clothes all the time. So I'm aware of the shadow because I recognize it, because I always work with yogic teachings, and they don't teach you be poor. They teach you be balanced and find your alignment. So there might be days where my ego gets me, and like, for example, if it's a summer day and I'm frustrated and kind of was too much or whatever came up, lots of things, and sometimes small things, or like my typical, inner inner process is going wrong. Sometimes a wrong WhatsApp message, just this typical normal human life. And I might end up this day overspending, over gossiping, just with myself. I'm not gossiping on purpose, lots with other people, but with myself. If I am annoyed, if I am very pissed, you don't want to hear what my mind says about people sometimes. And that is in my shadow. And I am not, I don't need to give into it. I have a mind, I can control my journey, it's my life. But there might be days where I'm totally off, or like other days, even weeks, I kind of don't want to cook and care for myself, and then just order food and like Chinese takeaway or whatever. And actually, that's not the food that I'm thriving with, because I love fresh, homemade veggies with my favorite spices that I got in every nice shop that I really like, and the quality that I need. So, and then I started feeling sluggish, and I'm getting in a rut and in a bad mood, and then yeah, my shadow would start winning. If I really give in and don't follow my yogic routines of also being mindfully eating and adding spice mindfully to my food, and like balancing what I'm eating and which amounts of what, and like good fresh veggie, and also standing there for myself, little practice cooking mindful time, because the preparation process is also good for yourself. Just stand there and honor yourself and do the work and chop your veggies and be grateful that you have food to eat. And then I know it. I immediately get to know it. I had a very deep shadow phase in my teenage years because of a lot of overwhelm, and I see that as not unmanageable overwhelm. So, but I kind of regret sometimes the moments that I could not notice that flooded by me because I was so busy raging internally. And or like the alcohol that my poor liver needed to detox. And yeah, I'm not very proud of those phases. I already did yoga, and it was the right step, but I kept drinking for another 3 years or so. And then, so just when I started university, it was finally time to let that version of me really go, and I never drank again. That's very rarely with old friends, and then I stopped seeing them, and then I actually never drank again. But I don't think alcohol is killer. It's a killer. But also I'm not, also with the same intention, I'm not eating fast food or whatever. And so it is my daily routine that keeps me in a mindful centered place. And um, it's just very noticeable that some spiritual teachers, they don't do their routines. Like they travel a lot, they skip it. And then you notice the ones who really stand there every day. Like I don't mean 3 a.m. early sadhana. I just mean people who will sit down and pray and meditate every day. And like I grew up with like books and YouTube videos, and they always said 10-15 minutes a day is good. And that is my because that's what I prefer Reiki, because that is energy work. So I will not show up with a mystery school ever, because I don't go deep in a mysterious state of spirituality. I'm a very mind focused person. Like I love knowledge. I want to read a little book workbook, very practical, because also I like to use things. I love to journal. I love the gratitude practice because I notice I am grateful for many things. That's more me. And I notice this is where my light is, where my choice. That is what I'm following. That is on my path. And so you notice with like Kundalini yogis, they stand on the mat all day, every day, and their life is not only dedicated to the mat. They show up for people. They create groups. They create their own ventures for the yoga. They go back. They visit sacred sites, and for them, I always um, I seen a little bit on Instagram. It's always for me like as if they would visit a stranger. They are curious about the place. What are the people? What do they eat? They are very knowledgeable. Um, they let people join that are not their tribe. They let them book and join. They hang out with their own students, which is so beautiful. And they not only do this for Magdalene things, even though they also look into this topic, and they do this very informed and historically appropriate. And they don't see the Mary Magdalene as just about divine feminine, because she's also a teacher about the divine masculine. I don't know what you know about her, but she is a firm believer of the strength of overcoming and the love of Jesus Christ, and that is a very strong message for every human. So, and that's what I hear with the Kundalini yoga too. It's also about self-realization, just also noticing yourself and your beautiful soul, but also their shadow. And I am somebody who do shadow work every autumn. Like I am mindful, my mood gets lower, the sun hours get less, it's getting cooler, and I'm a little bit more, yeah, in a shadowy part of my year. So I start doing little projects. I prepare for the winter. I stand in my masculine more to hold my shadow parts, which is I think is I have a quite a healthy masculine that was I've used it much too much in my life, which is not so healthy. But I've really given in to more femininity a little bit later in my life when I felt a little more safe and stable in my life. And then I know my inner woman. She is very emotional, and with the winter coming up in the autumn, and then also remembering the deceased ones, and yeah, not really getting to places. And then in my area also we are alone without the tourists, and then I feel kind of isolated and lonely too. So all of this is coming up. Grief is coming up in the shadow. The frustration is coming up, and then I stand there in my masculine and preparing and making an altar to hold the grief. I stand there and I am planning a little bit of nice things to look forward to in the winter, and just a little, yeah, positive moments. And then also I'm trying with the category of the year, it's always about how you can use the qualities of the seasons. And in this case, the season would like call me inward, and I do inner work. It's also a little bit of my witchy face, which I think is more nice. And my shadow woman, she does not like to be judged. She doesn't, because she knows she has a right, and she is there for a good cause. And so I have fun, like a little bit of the fun, colorful, witchy movies, and like, like not many women actually. I think like I know plenty of women who are more, yeah, and also into the Halloween movies and whatever, like little given into this fun with the repetitive cycle, just, and then the nature turning inward. And then also more inward means more energy for myself, more nourishing, more nurturing, a little bit egoistic, but for me that's not egoistic at all. That's energy management. And yeah, and just I get a little few decorations, or I start making my little own. And I make my home more beautiful, and then I cleanse and like the smudging and then lots of herbs, so it's all my witchy face. I got new books about spirituality that I love, about maybe shadow work this year. What a beautiful, nice idea. Maybe someone has a few journaling prompts about it. The journaling prompt is also very soft shadow work. You don't need to. I feel with the shadow work, there can be very soft approach. You just incorporate it every once in a while, and mostly I think conscious awareness is the biggest helper. And your shadow, am I? Are you are not like mastering the your shadow side, the part of you don't want to see for many reasons, but also for emotional disturbances, like trauma is in the shadow too a lot, and also like the typical ego traits with somebody who wants to be a yogi, they like me. So I've not 100% always mastered my ego, and if I have a weak phase where my shadow is winning, I give in to overconsummation, but that's it. Also in my teenage years, overconsummation of alcohol, but that's it, and balanced with a little bit of group energy and lots of gossiping. But yeah, I know I don't need to be 100% strict around it, because I naturally, I like nature, I like eating healthy, I like cooking, I'm a crafty person, I'm a knowledgeable person, I love meditating, I love resting, I love wellness, I love spa. Yeah, I don't need to control myself. But some people, they really they shifted their full identity with deep spiritual work, and that's very honorable. Like, that's amazing. For me, it's mostly a way to align my more masculine traits in a way that I know what to do with my life. Because I've had no guidance, and I really did not know how to start this life when I was younger. I really did not feel like I have great role models, and did not know. And so I just decided to start a yoga course, and then decided to learn more for school and become more. And then I worked on my personality and the young woman that I was, to stand stronger. And then, because I felt like being a woman was kind of easy, but it was never enough. People never felt like this woman is enough, or any woman is enough. I was always too much, and like pretty, not pretty, sexual, never sexual, perfect, no worth. Like, people's judgment about people are very rude. You see that a lot with, like, especially Hollywood stars, models. And also I think that comes from for yoga teachers. Like, if they're a little bit more well known, people have so many opinions about their body too. Like, it's so not yogi. Like, yeah, that's the mean ego part. Like, that's not nice. So you can do in autumn or winter or whatever. That's my time where I just put on paper everything after too much of the year, and then I rip it up and I burn it in a fire. And I learned to let it go for me, and with a little prayer, giving it to the universe, to God, or whatever, whoever you want to take care of. Your ancestors, if they hold you. It's like also all the deep ancestor work, so that's amazing. And so yeah, that's a little bit like, I have lots of thoughts about this whole thing. That's why I want to write a few of my little workbooks. But mostly I really felt urgent need to name and word that I really wanna distance myself from mystery schools about established religious figures. Even though I love them in my deck, I don't do that. Also, it's a way to honor my teacher, my yoga teacher, my Reiki teacher, my lineage that I am trying to study, and I'm trying to grow up to what makes them proud of their student. And that is sincere, intentional work. So I'm trying to live up to the guru and or yoga teacher that I like the most. That taught me how to live with being a human in a way that I feel comfortable in my body, which is for me a big lesson. And it took a little while to understand what that means. And then it did not take very long to weave it into my everyday and then live it. The same is true for my Reiki. I understand it. In the beginning, it was a little uncomfortable because it was so new. But now my everyday is filled and crowded with Reiki art, Reiki music. I want to make my own little Reiki healing music, adding a little song to it for the seasons. Um, um, I love getting Reiki healing now. It's just as I also like to go to a yoga studio or hop onto a meditation call. I love to try. There's lots of spiritual people. They talk a lot, you know. They talk a lot. They are quite knowledgeable. They describe their practice. They share what they're about. They tell you how it's going. How can they balance life on their path. And then there are lineages who want you to commit. And then there are other lineages like yoga for me is quite fluid. Whatever it is in the West, like obviously it will be different in a yoga in India in an ashram, or if you want to live there, you need to probably dedicate to their way of lineage. But like with hatha yoga, there are so many people, and it's not very spiritually taught in the Western world. So it was a beautiful start, and then I resonated most with like the ego teachings. As indeed, I did never want to hurt people with my own heart because I've seen it as the biggest mistake that my ancestors make. And I really did not know how to prevent that, and then it did help me. Because, yeah, food and health is so important for your well being. And obviously, your surrounding too. And that is the lineages that I am a little bit studying to this day. And I have 20 years of yoga on the mat and 5 years of Reiki in the living room because it does not need physical practice. Isn't that so lovely? I mean, you can meditate, obviously, and then connect to the Reiki, and it is definitely energy work around the body and with the body, but it's not an asana. So that's what I love because I had little health problems, so I could not really do my typical routines and the hike and all of that too, always with the mindfulness coming from the yoga, definitely strengthening my awareness of my own movement and my well-being. And so that the Reiki did help me relax and soothe and surrender to whatever is going on with health. And then I did find the calm and peace to reconnect to well-being and health every once in a while. So now I'm much better actually. And I'm so glad that I had this little spaces, these little lineages that do align me in a way that I feel very free and flowy with it, because that's a little bit what I like. I have my own opinion. I think that's also part of my shadow. I'm very inward. I don't always trust people. I don't want to tell them about deep inner processes, except if I want them as an example for my Reiki video or Reiki teaching or whatever. If I kind of just want to share how I shifted an emotion, I don't mind it, but that's not very deep for someone who lived who lived a yogic life. I could describe more than just little moments that shifted for me the mind. I do also notice abundance of gratitude, and like I have a long story to share about how I learned to live with more gratitude in my heart, because I found out that I had enough in my life and at one point, and that was making me more frustrated than having a little bit of lack. If you know what I mean, just I've not known what comes after the moment where I feel like myself, my ego, my heart, and all of this is saturated, what am I striving for next? And that was a little journey that is actually not too boring for me. But I'm not going in depth with that with people anymore, because when I tried to share with people that I've known, or when I was drunk, I got very talkative, and I really tried to make people understand my deep inner processes that are mostly just for me and about me, and like, you are not a copy of someone else. Every human is unique. Yeah, I learned the hard way by people pushing me away for oversharing. They didn't want to learn what I've learned because it was not their lesson. That's also what I've learned, that people have their own lesson to learn. That's why I love journaling so much. Okay, guys, this is an hour now. I'm gonna stop. Um, I might be doing a little video later making a crystal anklet if you want to join. Just want something, because I felt protected by the wolf and the winter throughout last year's surgery time, and now I want a little bracelet. Sorry, bracelet is the word. I just got the crystal today from Etsy, so I might maybe hop on later and let's do that together, or maybe tomorrow. I'm gonna see. See you again, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.